Welcome to our weekly Friday Talk and Tour series when we share the opportunity to visit the studios of our wonderful artists and hear about their works and inspiration. These visits are brought to you by the Duncan McClellan Gallery and the DMG School Project of St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for our weekly show. It's really wonderful that you support us this way, and we really appreciate it. We haven't been slack. We're doing a lot of things around the gallery as well as preparing for the future when we do get to service our kids and do all of that. But this is a great way to connect with everyone. And I really want to tell you how appreciative I am for you to be here. So today we have a really great show, a little bit different than our pure glass. And you'll see some incredible work. Mary, take it away and introduce our guests.
Thanks, Duncan. As Duncan said, we have two remarkable artists today, Peter Wright and Kim Goldfarb. Peter and Kim have been friends of the gallery as well as personal friends for a number of years, and it's been wonderful to watch both their bodies of work evolve and change as they pursue different concepts. They're one of those unique couples who are actively talented artists individually, and then together their spirits kind of feed each other and their work comes out in this wonderful way. Before we get started, want to encourage everyone to ask questions and make comments through the chat button at the bottom of your screen. At appropriate times, we'll take a break and we'll convey those comments and questions to Peter and Kim. Peter and Kim live and work at the moment currently in New Mexico. It's a place with very diverse cultures, very magical cultures, and you'll see how it influences their work. We're going to start by introducing Peter and Kim. Peter, and we want to ask you both a little bit about how you came to where you are. I know that you met in Chicago. Peter, you were in a different field. Kim, you were a gallery director, I believe. And, but kind of came from very diverse places and met each other and decided to go on this path. So we're going to kind of put you in the spotlight and just ask you to tell that story a little bit for our audience so they kind of get a sense of who you are and where you came from.
Okay, so I was working in commercial construction in Chicago for about 20 years, and I was riding the train back and forth to the city every day, and I was looking at the people who had been doing it for 20 years longer than I had at that time, and they were in pretty rough shape, and I realized that I just didn't want to end up being one of them. So I needed to find myself another avenue of work, and I had been interested in the arts my entire life. My mother's a patron of the Art Institute of Chicago and a life member. And so I thought I would find something in the art world that I would enjoy and that would support me. So through a whole series of events too long to explain here, I started a business producing bronzes for other artists who were creating their original works in stone or in wood or clay or whatever medium they worked with. And that took us to New Mexico. I started that business in 1995. And that took us to New Mexico. We moved there in 97. And I actually met Kim in 95 when she was a gallery director in Chicago. She was managing a gallery that had a lot of work that I was really taken with. And then I went in to see the work, and then I was taken with her. So here we are. In another week will be our 23rd wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Let me just interject that I think the first time I came to New Mexico was actually like 1986 or so. And I just decided I want to move there. And I wasn't sure how to make that happen. And I made another several visits back out here. And it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to move to New Mexico. And then Peter came in the gallery one day and we started talking. And one thing led to another. And then as we started dating, I realized, oh, he wants to move to New Mexico also. How convenient is this? So that was very fortuitous, and it helps if both people are really psyched up and want to have the same vision of what their lives are going to look like.
So, Kim Goldfarb works with Peter, but she's a painter. Has worked in different mediums, I believe, but we're going to let Kim tell us a little bit about herself. We'll see a short video and then some of her most recent work.
Well, first of all, let me just tell you that I'm very appreciative of being included here. I really thank you for that. So yes, I have been working in several different medias, and most recently returned to painting. Actually, it's been several years ago now. And I really do paint intuitively. So I'm not like some artists who really plan out what they're going to do. I have actually no idea when I walk into the studio, which is actually on our property, by the way. And so all I have to do is just walk out the back door and walk to my studio. And I always feel the need to go create. It's like this energy that wells up in me, and I just have to go do it. But I stand in front of my panels, and it's kind of like I say, okay, creator, you show me what you want me to do today, because I don't know. I just know that I have to do it. And so it's crucial to who I am that I get that out of me. So, let's show the video and we can find out more about what I do.
Hi, I'm Kim Goldfarb. Welcome to my studio in New Mexico. In my personal life and in my artistic process, I like to take the road less traveled. On my journeys, I enjoy veering off the main route. I'm always attracted to the back roads, the uncharted territory. The unexpected calls to me. That is why I don't plan my paintings. I don't prepare. I just start making marks on a panel. Those marks take me to my next move. Somewhere in the process, these women appear. They are real women you could reach out and touch. They have feelings and a story to tell. You can find me with them somewhere on the road less traveled. When I'm starting, I'm just really trying to get an essence of movement or find an emotion, find a feeling that's within the marks that I make. Sometimes I find shapes in the abstraction. I might see a woman's face in the abstraction. I might see an arm, a thigh, the turn of a head. Those are the kind of things that I look for within the abstraction, and then I start to draw an image with the charcoal. When I was in school, I had a really strong foundation in figurative drawing. And so now when I'm working, after I've done the abstraction, if I see some shapes in a form in the abstraction, I get out my charcoal and I just start drawing. And I can usually draw the figure just out of my own memory because I've done it so many times. Emotion is a huge part of my process, of everything that I do actually, because more than an actual physical space that these women are in. They're in an emotional space. And I guess that I want people to be touched by my work on an emotional level. It's been a long evolution in my work. A long time ago, I was totally an abstract painter. Then I went to sculpture. Then I went back to painting. I went back to painting for a lot of different reasons. One of which was watching a movie on Jackson Pollock, and I was watching Ed Harris portray Jackson Pollock, and there's a scene in an old barn in New York State where he was throwing paint around and just like had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he was tossing the paint around, and all of a sudden this emotion just welled up inside of me, and I started crying, and I thought, oh my gosh, I miss this like crazy. This is my true calling. And so I had to get back to painting. My last group of paintings dealt with my childhood memories of growing up in the Deep South. The women and children depicted are people of color. During that time, I witnessed their courage, their strength, and their determination, and I wanted to honor them. Here in New Mexico, the scenery is just incredible. It's an amazing, beautiful place. You don't see it in my paintings per se, but it's something that influences what I do because it is such a huge sense of space. And I love beauty, and I love a sense of openness, and actually I love being alone in the studio, because instead of being alone, I'm really in here with my friends that I've been creating, and so that's a really amazing part about New Mexico, is the sense of solitude, the sense of beauty, of majesty. I have a need to do this work. If I never made a penny off of it, I would have to do it regardless, because there's something in me that says these women need to have a voice, I need to have a voice, and I love what I'm doing, and there's no way that I could quit. Somehow or the other, this is my life, this is what I do.
So we're going to see a few slides, and this first one here is in my studio. It just gives you a sense of scale of the work, and I just want to quickly say that my work keeps evolving, and the urgency to paint just continues to grow stronger, and I'm in the studio almost every day because it just feels good to me. That's what I love to do. So this painting is called The Beach, and I actually grew up in South Georgia, and I was very close to the ocean. And so I have a couple of paintings that I've done that talk a lot about the beach, the ocean, and some people have told me that the woman in the polka dot bathing suit looks a lot like me, and so I thought, well, okay, just part of my desire to find myself at the beach. So this painting is really new, and it has a lot of movement and energy in it, and also no face. And recently I've decided that maybe all my paintings don't need faces. And so this is one that's more about the energy and the movement. And I also used some designed printed art papers that I ripped and tore and glued onto the surface in this one. So this painting is one of my personal favorites. I started out with just a black background on this, and I just picked up some white chalk and started drawing, and the figure just kind of popped out of me. And you know, she's got a look of satisfaction on her face, and as I have thought, it's kind of like she got out of a hot tub and she's just relaxed and feeling good about life. So this painting is called Silhouette. And again, I'm using a lot of the papers here and no face. It was hard for me not to put a face on this one. It had a face for a while, and then I said, nah, it doesn't need it. It really gets what I want to get across much better without it. So this one, Circle of Life, started out with me standing in front of the panel on the easel, and I was just using some high flow acrylic paint in a bottle, and I just stood in front of the panel and I started making circles, just da, 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 da. And as I made the circles, I felt rhythm, and then I felt dance, and then I felt a figure, and then the Native American figure. And so then the painting became more solid, but it's like the figure is moving in and out of being a solid three-dimensional form. And again, very loosely based on going to a lot of Pueblo dances. So these paintings do come out of my subconscious, and since I am not intending anything in particular when I start, as I worked on this painting, I realized something about myself. I have a tendency to look back at the past and, you know, regret some of the decisions I made, some of the things I did. And then I realized, no, that's really not a good thing. We all make mistakes, and it's really better just to move forward and don't look back. This painting really was strongly influenced by a dear friend of mine who actually has one blue eye and one brown eye. And she is a Gemini, and she has a lot of energy. She's an older woman, but has so much energy, would never know what her age is. So I admire her tremendously, and she inspired this painting. This painting is called Joy, and I think it's a lot about just the joy of a mother and a daughter and the experiences that they have together. And in this case, maybe in a dance class.
Kim, what are you painting on? What is the surface? Is it canvas or?
No, it's a panel, a wood panel, and I need the hard surface because of all the, you know, I do a lot of scraping and a lot of drawing with charcoal, and I don't like the surface to move like a canvas does. I want it to be, you know, stiff.
Mm-hmm.
So this painting, can we go? Thank you. Back to this one. This is called Lightbringer, and she started to have the feeling of an angel, an angelic being. And then I thought about, okay, where is this coming from? And I realized that instead of an angel, she represents all of us who have the ability to bring light into the world today where things can be a little dark, so we could all use some light. This painting is called Mixed Race, and here in New Mexico, we have a lot of blending of the races, and particularly with the native cultures and the Spanish. And I personally think that the combinations, when you mix races, you get a lot of attractive people. Here's more of my beach thing, my ocean yearning. So I feel like that this is a painting also about creation, and the one woman doesn't have a face, and the fish is jumping up near her to give her some information and help her in her formation. So it's kind of a creation myth. And this is Secret Place, and it's one of my newer paintings, also incorporating some of my papers. And it's really about all of us needing to have, particularly at this time, a place that is just our own, where we can go and relax and meditate and have our secret place. So that's it.
Thank you, Kim. beautiful body of work. We have a question from Susan, who's asking, when you say real women, what do you mean? Because you don't use models. So
No, I don't use models. I use myself. I have a big mirror in the studio and I look at myself if I need reference to a pose. And I also have books for artists that have models that are in various poses. So when I'm saying real women, they don't start out as anything with real form to them, but they develop the form and their personality as I work on them. And sometimes, you know, in the evenings when I return to my studio and I go in and I turn the lights on and I look at them, it's like, oh, somebody's here. So to me, they just give off the vibe of having a soul and being a person.
and you had said they exist in an emotional place. You know, they exist not necessarily just in our physical space.